for joining me again for another Pixie Talks review vlog.
Pixie Talks, reviews and vlogs at Pixie Talks. Pixie Talks, reviews and vlogs at Pixie Talks.
Woo! Let's talk about WoW. I used to play World of Warcraft a fair bit some years ago. It's a really engaging game with a massive world to explore and all sorts of interesting things to do. Now, I kind of petered out playing WoW because personally, I really don't care about playing games online with other people. I prefer the single player experience. As such, when I was playing, I only ever really did quests. I didn't go raiding or anything. I wasn't a part of a guild. And at a certain point in the game, it becomes very evident that you are not going to get the gear you need to be effective by just doing quests. However, what has always drawn me to WoW was the lore and the complexities of its story and world building. It's got a lot of great political upheaval, and there aren't really any good guys or bad guys. Both the Alliance and the Horde can be seen as both bad and good, and I always enjoyed playing characters on both sides. So when a Warcraft movie was announced, I was really excited to see the World of Warcraft come to life. So, this is the Warcraft movie. Alright, so, a quick rundown for if you are unfamiliar with the setting. Warcraft takes place in a high fantasy world called Azeroth, where magic is widespread and wizards protect the world from evil. In another realm, however, there is a sinister magic brewing, and orcs open up a portal, crossing over with intent to take over this world because their home world has been so destroyed by evil magic. It's up to the people of Azeroth to band together and fight back against the corrupted orcs. But not all of the orcs want this for their people either, and there are some who will fight back against their own kind as well. That's ludicrously truncated, but you get the general gist. It's a really engaging story to play with, so how well did they do it? Well, I'm going to start by saying that I had a lot of fun watching this movie. It was a blast. Probably the coolest thing was just seeing the setting itself come to life. What was really interesting is that apparently my brain interprets these in-game locations as places I have actually been. So the whole time my brain was just freaking out like, holy crap, I've been there! I've been there too! I've quested there! And visually it was absolutely gorgeous. WoW has such a memorable and specific magical aesthetic, and they nailed that with their effects here. From the cool glowing eyes to the magic casting itself to the designs of the armor, everything in this looks so freaking fun. That said, not all of that meshed well with the physical live-action actors playing these characters, and especially since the studio that makes the game trailers pumps out such gorgeously animated shorts, one really has to wonder why they didn't just make this an animated movie. It would have been just as beautiful without that weird disconnect between the CG and the live-action faces. The biggest problem this movie has, however, is the writing. Now, not everything from the original lore is the same here. There have definitely been some changes made to the original story. And that's fine, but this movie tends to over-rely on the viewer having actually played the Warcraft games and being already familiar with the franchise. If you have never played the games, a lot of this does not make any sense. There are factions that are apparently against each other for reasons, and ill-explained mechanics and motives that really don't hold water. Writing-wise, it's really kind of a mess of a movie. And I really wish that they had put more effort into actually writing a coherent narrative rather than just using the fact that the franchise is as well known as it is as a writing crutch. But worse than that, the character development tends to be pretty forced. Garona's character arc is scattered and barely defined, even though it's kind of the crux of the movie. She spends the whole movie hating the humans right up until the point where she suddenly doesn't anymore, and that's really not very well fleshed out. There's some stuff in there about Lothar's kid and their estranged relationship, but it's also just not heavily explored enough to have the emotional impact it was supposed to have. That said, none of it was bad enough that it ruined my experience of the film. It's not a bad movie, really. It's just kind of a mediocre one that also happens to have an awful lot of nostalgia and just really fun things in it. If you are a fan of Warcraft already, you will find this movie fairly fun and enjoyable, if nothing to write home about. If you aren't a fan already, though, you'll probably walk away from the movie wondering what all the fuss is about. And that is it for my review of the Warcraft movie. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do be sure to subscribe for more. You can also add me on Facebook and Twitter. And next time, I gotta talk about some Pokemon Go. See you then. Bye!